Welcome home to Homespun, a weekly internet gathering of family, friends, and businesses from Platte County. Our purpose is to connect our community and showcase the colorful threads that run through our tapestry. Grab a warm cup of hometown goodness, sit back, put your feet up, and visit with us a while. I'm your host, Mark DeLapp, and I bring to you portions of interviews from some of our own. Welcome home, Platte County, to Homespun. All right, we're here today with Terry Stevenson, who's the Emergency Management Coordinator.
Right. Coordinator suggests that nobody reports to me.
That's good, Terry.
I try to get people to work together on things that don't report to me. So, and occasionally it's a challenge. Most of the time, everybody's on the same page anyway. You know.
Sure.
Make things work around the county. So.
Well, I think the first question I have, I know that we're going to talk about some new software for the siren system here, but being new to Wyoming, Terry, how long have you been here?
Okay.
Are you Wheatland born and raised?
I wasn't born here. I moved to Wheatland when I was in high school.
Okay.
Finished out high school here, went away to college and stayed away for 20 years.
Okay.
And then came back.
Where did you go to college at?
I went to college in Minnesota and Wisconsin. Then I took some other work in California and Colorado. So
where?
All over.
What colleges in Minnesota and Wisconsin?
I went to a couple of Baptist Bible colleges.
Okay.
One called Pillsbury, another one called Maranatha.
I know them very well. I started my career teaching in Minnesota.
Oh, really?
And and I actually graduated from the University of Wisconsin at Eau Claire.
Okay.
So I was up in that same brutal wintry weather that you had to spend a part of.
Yeah, out there, one of the things I learned was when winter arrived, it didn't go away until spring. Now around here, we have a break.
Yeah.
And usually the wind comes with the break,
Sure.
temperature-wise. But
now I lived in Duluth for a while, about 3 years, and I think they have summer July 23rd.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be changing this year, but on July 23rd, it's usually winter, summer, and then the next day starts fall right away. So, they get their things. But here in Wheatland, when is the last time we have had a natural disaster, tornado, flooding, anything? What have we experienced here?
The last big one was the Britannia fire, which was at the end of August in 2018.
Okay.
So that was the more recent big one. We've had some weather around the county. We've had some tornadoes in the county. When I'm thinking about it, I don't remember the exact date. We had one up by Hartville that just started just east of Hartville and went over into Goshen County. Okay. So we've dodged the tornadoes for a while.
Okay.
We did have a big tornado back in 2012, right on the tail end of the Arapahoe fire. So we had one right after the other at that time. That was before I was in this job. I started in this one in September of 13.
You'd think with the wind here, as gusty as it is that good for the tornadoes, or maybe I should talk to a meteorologist about that, or is it bad for the tornadoes? Or
well, typically the wind doesn't blow quite as hard during the summer.
Okay.
And we are near the mountains, so we don't get the tornado development like they do away from the mountains.
Okay.
In fact, we've done. I talked to the Weather Service about the history of tornadoes here. We have about half the number that Goshen County has. And they're just right next door to the east. And a couple of years ago, my counterpart in Goshen County, I would tease her about the fact that we start the storms and send them over there. And it's happened a lot. But we're not immune. We do get them.
Sure.
And so since we do, we need to see what we can do to warn people.
So we have an early response system here. And how many sirens do we have here in Wheatland?
We've got 4 in Wheatland.
Okay.
We also control 1 in Chugwater, 1 in Glendo, 1 in Hartville, and 2 in Guernsey.
Okay.
And those are all controlled from right here at the dispatch center.
Okay. Now, give me a little history of when those sirens go off. Somebody's got to manually set those sirens off. It's not like a smoke detector that automatically goes off, correct?
You are correct.
And tell me how that goes. Are you in cooperation with the meteorological society, and they give you a heads up?
We have communication with the National Weather Service in Cheyenne, and typically when it comes to tornadoes, it's unusual to have a tornado actually happen without a tornado watch coming before that. A tornado watch is issued when the weather is conducive to the formation of tornadoes. And when that happens, we will send out a code red, which is our reverse 911, to everybody in the county, because it's a countywide warning or watch that there is a tornado watch. The reason we do that is because the Weather Service has told us that about 70% of the time that we have a tornado watch, we end up with a tornado or a funnel cloud or some kind of serious weather. So we do give that information out. When it comes to a tornado itself, the code red system takes a little time to initiate and send out the calls. They on their end can send out about 600 calls a minute, but the phone systems here in the county can't necessarily receive that many calls. Right. So we have to throttle it back a little bit.
Sure.
And by the time we get everything done, it could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes at best that we could get a warning out, and by that time the tornado's gone.
Yeah.
So we try to inform people that we'll give out the tornado watch. That means heads up. If a tornado is sighted here and if it's near one of the towns, that's when we set off the sirens.
Okay. Do you guys send out any kind of educational texts like that at the beginning of, let's say, the beginning of tornado season, just letting them know that this is the way it works?
Yeah, we do a couple or 3 things. This year in Wyoming, there's a national or a statewide severe weather awareness week, something like that, if I'm getting terminology right. And it's mid-May. Usually they have it in mid-April, but this year they've decided, for whatever reasons I don't know, to have it in mid-May. And we'll put some information in the newspaper and do some things there for that. And also during that week, we will do a siren test. And that way we know that our systems are working. We'll do a full test with a full 3-minute blast so that everybody in town can hear it, know what it sounds like, and know what it means, that if it goes off like that, it means there's a tornado nearby.
Sure. You said one of the biggest natural disasters that happened has been a fire. Do those sirens go off also in cases of fire?
No, we don't use them for fire. They ancient history, like 15, 20 years ago, there would be a blast on the siren that indicated that the volunteer fire department was headed out. And in fact, it was used to call out the volunteers. Now we use a paging system and radios to call people out for that. And the sirens are used almost exclusively. They're set up to do other kinds of warnings, like a terrorist attack and other things like that. But the primary thing that we see them used for here is for tornadoes.
Okay. Different blast signals, almost like a Morse code, correct? Will let you know what type of
Yeah, we have
disaster it is.
about 4 different ones that are programmed in, and those are available on our website, and that's one of the things that we typically publish every year in the newspaper, is so people can cut that out and put it on the refrigerator or whatever, know
Sure.
exactly what the different sounds mean.
Right, and this is at the county website?
Yes.
Okay. So if you tap into the county website and go to
Emergency management.
emergency management, okay. Well, that's good to know. That's good information, and it's a good thing to put on your refrigerator to know
Yeah.
what kind of tones are flying around out there.
Right. The one to know the most is the steady 3-minute tone.
Yeah.
There's no mistaking that one. That's
Tornado. Yeah. And so we have got something here that's brand new in Wheatland, which is an upgrade of the software system, correct?
Correct.
And tell me a little bit about how this happened, why we needed that, and what it entailed.
Okay. Going back about 2004, it was decided that the sirens in the county needed some upgrading, and there was some grant money available, and decision was made to put all of the controls for that system here in the courthouse in our dispatch center. Before that, the individual towns would run their own sirens, and now they're all operated from here. And the sirens came with the software, and that was loaded on a computer in dispatch, and that software is the very same software that we have today. So it's probably 14, 15 years old, and the upgrade path has changed to where it takes a whole different kind of setup in order to operate it. So, and we decided that we needed to take that step, and there will be several advantages for us. One is that the current software is loaded on a single computer because it's a single application, and that computer has to be connected into the system that sets off the sirens.
And if that computer goes down?
And if that computer's down, then there's the siren box is available. You can push buttons on it if you know what you're doing, and set off the sirens.
Manually?
But, yes.
And you'd have to go to those boxes and do that?
Well, that box happens to be in dispatch, so it's closely available.
Well, what about boxes, let's say up in Guernsey, and it's all so if you program one, sirens are gonna go off all over, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Now, the software hasn't really been new since 2004. What about your hardware? What about your sirens themselves? Have those been replaced in the last 16 years?
The sirens haven't been replaced. There's been repair work done on them. They have battery backup systems with them. The batteries have been replaced from time to time. And we run tests that the public doesn't usually hear. We call it a little growl.
Okay.
That is a quiet little thing to make sure everything's working occasionally.
Let's test your batteries, things like that?
That everything is working like it's supposed to be working.
Okay.
So those things have been available to us. Now, one of the things, and I mentioned that the software was on a single computer, we're going to get it installed on a server.
Okay.
So it will be available from multiple computers and actually available through a browser. So that way, even if, for example, if
your power's down.
if we have backup power here, so
Okay.
but I could set it off at home if there was a problem here in dispatch, or a busy situation where it was very difficult for them to get to it, which happens sometimes when
Sure.
events start happening like
Right.
that, it can be set off through a browser software
Okay.
that can be logged into. There'll be some limitations on where people can log into it, but anyway, that's one aspect of it. The other thing, the newer software also has the capability of not just setting off the sirens, but also of doing other kinds of communication, like sending out text messages, and we can do that to personnel who might be responding to the tornado. We can notify fire personnel directly to their cell phones, that type of thing. And I'm still looking at some of the features. We haven't gone through the training yet to show us all of the features that it has, but I think that it's also going to be permit people to sign up so that if they are in a place where they can't hear a siren, which we hear occasionally, because their home is so tight, then we can find a way to get the signal to them somehow through a text message or something like that.
Wow. Terry, the software package well, first of all, back to the hardware. How old are our sirens here in Wheatland?
They're about 15 years old.
15. So they've been replaced probably in around 2005, the actual sirens themselves?
Right.
Okay. So that's not too bad for sirens. Some sirens are what they run between 30 and 40 years sometimes
Right.
on the sirens. So we're still good there. How much did it cost us for the new software program?
The new software is about $15,000.
Okay. Well, that's not really too bad considering
You know,
what it's used for.
One of the things that I've learned is that in emergency equipment or software is very expensive.
Yes, it is. It is, but that's pretty reasonable compared to some of the software systems that are out there. What? When is the software going to be uploaded and actually utilized?
Within probably the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay. And will there be testing that the public needs to know about at that point?
We hope to have it fully online by the time we do our annual tornado test in mid-May.
Okay. Again, this is a good upgrade, and this is good for the town of Wheatland, especially since the weather is so uncertain lately, and it seems like every year we just encounter more and more anomalies out there in the weather. So you never can tell. But so again, we're here with Terry Stevenson from the Emergency Management Department at the City of Wheatland, and Terry, has been great talking with you today.
Thank you,
we will get this online, and we will make sure that people know what's going on here in our town, and especially on our new digital footprint called Homespun, which is our new web-based television program.
Okay,
So thanks, Terry.
you bet.